You think the toil, it is just a place you visit and forget about, right? A harmless part of your daily routine. But what if I told you that, for some, it's not just porcelain and water, it's an open door, a channel, a weapon? What if I told you that witches, those who work in darkness, have used this very place to launch some of their most dangerous attacks, while you're completely unaware? The truth is, what most people see as mundane, they see as opportunity, and that's where their power starts when you let your guard down. Witches understand one thing about human nature: you relax when you think you're safe. In your home, in your bathroom, you believe you're untouchable. That's exactly when they strike, because the toilet is connected to a network, to water lines, to drains, to spaces you never think about, but they study. In ancient traditions, water wasn't just for drinking. It was a carrier of energy, and they know how to turn water into a messenger. They can speak into it, curse into it, plant energy into it, and send it traveling right into your space. You flush and you think it's gone, but spiritually, something might have just entered. They target you when you're distracted, when you're in that vulnerable moment of release, because your body's focus is elsewhere. Your guard is down, and if you don't think energy can travel through water, you're already behind in this game. Cultures for centuries have used water to bless, to cleanse, but also to harm, to hex, to bind. And these witches, they know exactly how to reverse what's meant for protection into something designed to break you. They may chant over a jar of water, mix in elements that carry specific spiritual frequencies, and then pour it into your drain or even your toilet, turning your safe space into a portal of attack. You start noticing subtle things, a sudden heaviness in your home, headaches that appear without cause, conflict rising between family members, bad dreams, things breaking for no reason, and you can't trace it back, because who would ever suspect the toilet? That's why they use it. It's the perfect disguise. No one guards it. No one thinks about spiritually cleansing it. You clean the surface with bleach, but you never touch the energy they left behind. A witch's goal here isn't just to scare you, it's to weaken you slowly. Because the more drained you feel, the more open you become to further attacks. They understand the psychology of warfare. First, make you doubt your own stability, then manipulate your surroundings, and when you're already worn down, they come for the final blow. That's when they move in, not physically, but spiritually. You feel watched. You feel as though your privacy has been invaded. And in a way, it has. Here's the part that will either wake you up or leave you in denial. If they can send it through water, they can also pull from it. They can siphon energy, luck, even moments of intimacy from your life. Every time you use that toilet without spiritually sealing it, you're leaving a window open in the middle of the night with a neon sign that says, "Come in." And they will. They will walk right in because you didn't think to lock the door they chose. Protection isn't about paranoia, it's about awareness. And in this game, the one who sees first wins. So if you think witches won't use the toilet to get to you, you've already lost the first battle. Because they're counting on your disbelief. They're counting on you thinking this is all superstition. But remember, evil hides in plain sight. It doesn't knock on the front door. It finds the entrance you never guarded. And your toilet for them, that's an open gate. The question is, how long will you leave it open? They don't come at you where you're strong, they come at you where you're blind. That's the art of attack, and for most people, the blind spots are the everyday, ordinary places they never think to protect. You lock your front door, you check your windows, but do you ever think about the toilet? Of course not, because your brain has been trained to see it as nothing more than plumbing. That's why it's perfect for them. They thrive on the element of surprise, slipping into spaces you overlook. They know the more harmless something looks, the less you guard it, and that gives them full access. It's not about the object itself, it's about your assumption that it's safe, and when they know you're not watching, that's when they plant their move. In their world, the most underestimated place becomes the most dangerous one. Water has always been more than just water. In every ancient culture, it's been a living element, something that carries, transmits, and transforms energy. You drink it to live, you wash with it to cleanse, but what most people forget is that water doesn't just clean, it remembers. It holds vibrations, words, intentions. Witches know this. They speak into it, they breathe into it, they infuse it with whatever force they want to send. Blessings, curses, bindings. It all moves faster and stronger through water because it's a perfect conductor. And here's the part that should make you pay attention. The water in your toil, it is no different. It doesn't matter that it's not for drinking. Spiritually, it can carry just as much weight. They understand that water is a highway, and if they know where it flows, they can send something straight to you without stepping foot in your home. That toilet in your home is not as isolated as you think it is. You see a ceramic bowl, a handle, some water. What you don't see is the network it's attached to. Pipes that run under floors, through walls, and out into a system that connects entire neighborhoods, cities, even other buildings. It's all linked. That's what makes it dangerous. Because, in a spiritual sense, that network is like an open highway, one that doesn't just move physical waste, but can carry energy from one point to another. And witches, the ones who study these things, understand that they don't have to be in your house to reach you. They can stand miles away, work their ritual, and send it right into the system, knowing exactly where it will end up. Most people underestimate just how connected their environment really is. They think my bathroom is private, my water is my own. No, the water that fills your toil, it didn't start there. It traveled through a series of channels, picking up everything it touched along the way. And if you're not protecting that line, you're leaving yourself exposed to whatever has been placed in it before it reaches you. It's like plugging your phone into a public charger, yes. It gives you power, but it can also install something you never asked for. Energy works the same way. A witch who wants to reach you doesn't need to break into your home. They don't need your address. All they need is access to the same system you're connected to. They might pour a prepared mixture water charged with specific herbs, oils, ashes, or blood directly into a shared drain, knowing that through the flow and pressure of the system, that energetic imprint will travel, and by the time it comes through your toilet, you have no idea it's carrying anything at all. It looks like normal water, it sounds like normal water, but spiritually it's been coded. Think about what happens when something foul gets into a city's water supply. You can't always see it, you can't always smell it, but it spreads, and it affects everyone who uses it. Now replace that contamination with something spiritual and intention, a curse, a hex, and you'll understand why the toilet is an ideal access point. It's connected enough to reach you, but private enough that you never think to guard it. And here's where most people get it wrong. They assume that because water is constantly moving, any negative energy will just wash away. That's not always true. In the spiritual realm, movement doesn't always erase, it spreads. Just like gossip doesn't die out just because it's passed along, a curse doesn't lose power just because it travels. In fact, the motion can give it more force, like wind pushing a flame. When that energy hits your space, It doesn't politely stop at the drain. It disperses. It lingers in the air, in the surfaces, in you. I've seen people who could trace back a sudden streak of bad luck to the exact moment something was introduced into their home through the plumbing. Strange smells they couldn't place, water that left a residue, pets avoiding certain areas of the bathroom, children suddenly afraid to go in alone. All subtle signs, but signs nonetheless. That's because the energy doesn't just stay in the water. It radiates outward. The toilet becomes a focal point for it, almost like a beacon, and every time you use it, you're interacting with that frequency. The real genius of this method, if you can call it genius, is its invisibility. No one suspects a thing. When people think of spiritual attack, they imagine a physical object left in their yard, or someone standing outside their home. They don't think about infrastructure. They don't think about systems witches do. They know that if they tap into a shared connection, they can touch dozens of people at once, or target just one if they understand how the flow works. It's like a sniper shot in the spiritual world, precise, quiet, and effective. Even worse, many of these attacks are designed to be cumulative. The first time it reaches you, you might feel nothing. The second time, maybe just a sense of unease. But over days, weeks, months, it builds. That's the strategy, small doses that slip under your radar until the weight becomes too much to ignore. And by the time you start looking for answers, the source is so unexpected you never find it. The question is, how do you defend something so deeply integrated into your home? First, you have to change the way you see it. Stop thinking of your toilet as a purely physical object. Start seeing it as both physical and spiritual. Every opening in your home, doors, windows, vents, drains, is a potential entry point. And if you wouldn't leave your front door wide open at night, why would you leave a spiritual gateway like your toilet completely unguarded? What they're counting on is your disbelief. If you dismiss the idea, you won't protect yourself. If you won't protect yourself, they can work without resistance. And that's the truth about this game. The one who refuses to see is the one who loses first. Witches understand the system. They understand the network. They understand that the toilet in your home isn't just yours, it's part of something much bigger. And if they can reach the network, they can reach you. They know the exact moment you're most exposed, when your attention isn't on defense, but on something else entirely. In those seconds, you're not thinking about protecting your energy, your mind, or your spirit. You're focused on a physical act, your guard completely lowered, and that's when they slip in. Witches thrive in those small windows where you think nothing can touch you, because you're relaxed, comfortable, even distracted. It's the same principle used in combat. Never hit your opponent when they're ready. Wait until they're off balance. And in your own bathroom, in the privacy of your home, you've convinced yourself you're in a fortress. That false sense of security is their weapon. They don't need to break down your door. They just wait for the moment you've already left it wide open without realizing it. They don't just throw water in a bowl and hope for the best. There's an exact science to what they do. When a witch decides to attack through water, it's not random. It's calculated. They understand that water is the perfect carrier, but only if it's prepared the right way. They might start with clean water, because clean water absorbs intention better than anything already contaminated. Then they begin the process of charging it, of making it more than just liquid. That's where the ritual comes in. Some will speak directly into it, repeating words that carry specific vibrational patterns meant to attach to whoever comes into contact with it. Others will blow across it, infusing their own breath because breath, in spiritual terms, carries life force. And then there are the physical additives. herbs with certain energies, powders made from burnt items, salt or sulfur to bind and anchor the curse. Sometimes it's blood, sometimes it's ash, sometimes it's soil from a grave. Every single thing they put into that water has a purpose, and together it turns into something more than a physical mixture. It becomes a weapon. Once that water is prepared, the delivery method is just as important as the curse itself. They know where the pipes run. They know how the flow works. They might pour it directly into a drain they have access to, a shared drain outside a building, a public restroom on the same water line, or even a manhole in the street. In rural areas, they may target a specific water tank or shared well. The goal is always the same, to send that coded energy directly into the system you're connected to. The moment it enters your space, it doesn't announce itself. That's the beauty and the danger of it. It looks like nothing more than water. It has no strange color, no unusual smell, but spiritually, it's carrying an instruction. That instruction could be to weaken your body, to disturb your mind, to create division in your relationships, to cause financial instability, or to invite constant misfortune. The water doesn't need to be ingested for it. To work, contact alone can be enough. A splash on your skin, vapor in the air, even the act of flushing it can be enough for the energy to settle into your home. They choose the toilet because it's the one place you interact with water in a completely unguarded way. You don't approach it with caution. You don't pray over it. You don't think of it as a spiritual object. That's exactly why it's the perfect portal. And here's something most people don't realize. The bathroom is already a high energy space because it's where we release. Physically, yes, but also energetically. You let go of waste, but sometimes you also let go of emotional or mental burdens without even knowing it. That creates a moment of openness in your spiritual field. If the water in that space has been prepared with malicious intent, you're far more likely to absorb it in that state. This isn't superstition, it's strategy. Ancient cultures knew about this. In certain parts of Africa, Asia, and South America, people wouldn't even dispose of their bathwater in public because they knew someone could use it against them. They understood that once water touches you, it carries your energy signature. That's why witches today can reverse this principle. They're not just taking energy from you, they're sending their own into your life. And it doesn't stop with the initial curse. Once the energy is in your space, it can be layered. A witch can return days or weeks later, sending more water with the same vibration into the system. Over time, this creates a build up like sediment at the bottom of a river. That's why some people say, it feels heavier in my home. That heaviness isn't your imagination, it's the accumulation of energy deposits designed to stay. You might notice strange things starting to happen. Electronic devices in the bathroom malfunctioning, mirrors fogging up even when there's no heat or steam, pets refusing to go near the toilet, plants in the bathroom dying for no apparent reason, small leaks that can't be fixed permanently. These are not always just plumbing problems, they can be symptoms of an intentional spiritual presence. Some witches will take this a step further by tying the curse to a specific symbol or object. For example, they might place a small piece of metal, bone, or fabric soaked in the prepared water somewhere along the system. This acts as a spiritual anchor, ensuring the energy stays put even when the water is replaced. You could flush the toilet 100 times and still not remove the source. And because you never look inside the pipes, you'll never see it. They also understand the psychological advantage this method gives them. When the attack starts affecting you, you'll likely look everywhere but the bathroom for answers. You'll think it's stress, bad luck, or a series of coincidences. You won't suspect the water because it's too ordinary, and when you don't suspect it, you don't protect it. That's what they're counting on. The scariest part, this method allows them to attack without ever entering your home, without ever leaving a physical trace, and without risking being caught. They can be miles away, and still, the energy finds you. It's one of the few attack strategies that's both highly personal and completely invisible. Protection against this kind of attack starts with awareness. You can't block what you refuse to acknowledge. If you keep treating the toilet as nothing more than plumbing, you're giving them free access. You have to start treating it as an entry point, because spiritually, that's exactly what it is. Witches know it, and now so should you. It never comes at you like lightning. That's the mistake most people make. They expect an attack to look like chaos from the start. But witches who know what they're doing, they don't work like that. They don't want you to see it coming. They don't want you to react, to fight back. They want you to explain it away. So they start with the smallest ripple, something you can brush off. Maybe you wake up with a headache for no reason. Maybe your sleep feels heavier, your dreams darker. But you blame the weather, your workload, the food you ate. That's exactly what they want. Then the pattern starts to build. You notice the air in your home feels heavier. Conversations with your family get tense over nothing. The laughter feels like it's been drained out of the room. And because it's not dramatic enough to be obvious, you still don't connect the dots. You think, I'm just tired, or we're all stressed. You don't realize that something is quietly setting up camp in your space, feeding on the energy it's draining from you. That's the genius of a slow attack. It becomes part of your normal before you even know it's there. You start having small streaks of bad luck. Maybe you misplace important things more often. You lose opportunities you thought were locked in. Your finances start to dip, not because of one big event, but from little losses piling up. And by the time you start to question what's going on, you're already worn down, your defenses already low. It's like erosion. A cliff doesn't fall apart in a single wave. It crumbles piece by piece until there's nothing left to hold it together. That's what they're doing to you. They don't need to strike hard if they can strike long. Because when your body is tired, your mind is foggy, and your spirit is restless, you're easier to manipulate. That's when they can push bigger energy through without resistance. You might even notice things in your bathroom itself shifting. The water feels different, heavier, maybe even colder than it should be, a faint smell that doesn't go away. Shadows where there shouldn't be shadows. You chalk it up to bad lighting or plumbing issues, but deep down, something in you knows it's not normal. You just don't want to face it, and that hesitation is their opening. Once the energy from that cursed water settles into your space, it spreads like smoke. It doesn't stay trapped in the bathroom. It seeps under the door, moves through the air, attaches to fabrics, lingers on your skin. You carry it with you to your bed, to your kitchen, even out of the house. Every time you interact with that space, you're reintroducing yourself to the very thing that's weakening you. The worst part, it starts influencing your mood and your decisions without you realizing it. You become more irritable, more anxious, more suspicious of the people around you. Arguments you never would have had before suddenly erupt over nothing. Friends drift away, relationships fracture. And all the while you're thinking, why is this happening to me? The answer is that the attack was never meant to be loud. It was meant to be quiet enough for you to ignore until it was too late. That's how they win, by making the attack blend into your life so seamlessly that you think you're the problem. They want you to believe you're just unlucky, that you're just in a bad season, that nothing supernatural is happening at all. Because if you believe that, you won't protect yourself, you won't fight, and that's when they have you completely. You scrub it with bleach, pour in disinfectant, maybe even drop one of those blue tablets in the tank, and you think you've done your job. It looks clean, it smells clean, but that's the problem. You're only addressing what your eyes can see. You're not touching what's really there. Spiritual contamination doesn't care about surface shine. It doesn't live where the scrubbing brush reaches. It lives in the unseen, clinging to the energy in the water, settling in the tiny cracks of the porcelain, hiding in the flow of the pipes. You can't wash it away with chemicals because it's not physical, and that's exactly why so many people live with these attacks for years without realizing it. They think cleaning is enough. They think hygiene and protection are the same thing. They're not. You can have the most spotless bathroom in the city and still be standing over a gateway that's been spiritually poisoned. The danger doesn't leave just because the dirt does. It leaves when the energy is broken. And if you never address that, you're just polishing the door they've been walking through. They're not trying to knock you out in one hit. That's too obvious, too risky. A quick, hard strike draws attention. It makes you suspicious, maybe even makes you fight back. What they're aiming for is something much more dangerous, a slow erosion of everything that keeps you strong. They want to chip away at you so gradually that you don't even realize what's happening until you've already lost ground. And the toilet is a perfect place for that because it's a point of daily contact. You're in that space multiple times a day without thinking about it, without guarding yourself, without realizing you're exposing your energy to something that's been placed there on purpose. This isn't just about a curse. They're after your resilience. They know that if they can weaken your body, cloud your mind, and shake your spirit, they've already won half the battle. So maybe the first thing that happens is your sleep starts getting worse. You wake up tired, even if you went to bed early. Then you notice your patience getting shorter. You're more irritable, snapping at people you love for no real reason. You start doubting yourself. You start second, guessing every decision, and because it's subtle, you think it's just life wearing you down. That's how they trap you, by making their attack blend into what feels like normal stress. They use time as a weapon. The longer you live under that slow pressure, the more your defenses crumble, and once you're running on empty, you stop protecting yourself in other areas too. You skip prayers or spiritual routines. You stop taking care of your body the way you should. You withdraw from people who could help you. That isolation is exactly what they want, because the more alone you feel, the easier you are to influence. It's psychological warfare disguised as bad days and bad moods, and here's the thing, most people don't break from one big blow. They break from 100 small hits that never stop coming. That's why these witches design their attacks to be ongoing. Every time you interact with that cursed space, it reinforces the energy. It's like walking through smoke every day. You don't notice how much you're breathing in until your lungs start to ache. By then, the damage is already deep. They also understand momentum. Once they've planted that energy, it doesn't stay at the same level. It grows. The more you feed it with your presence, your frustration, your fatigue, the stronger it becomes. You don't just live with the curse, you start carrying it. And that's when it moves beyond the bathroom. Suddenly, your car starts having problems, your finances dip. Opportunities slip away. You attract more negativity because your whole environment has shifted to match the frequency they've set. The slow weakening is more than just a tactic, it's a test of endurance. They're betting on you not having the awareness or the discipline to fight something you can't see. They're betting on you to adapt to the pain instead of removing it. Because if you normalize it, you'll never resist it. And the truth is, once you accept it as part of life, they can keep you in that state for years. The toilet becomes more than just a delivery point. It's the anchor. It's where the energy enters and stays connected. If they can keep that anchor in place, they can keep feeding the attack whenever they want. That's why they don't need to be in your home physically. They can be miles away, yet still tap into that connection, still push more energy into your space, still keep you under that slow, steady pressure. And when they sense you're finally at your lowest, when your energy is too drained to fight, your mind too foggy to think clearly, that's when they move in with the bigger strike. By then, it doesn't even take much. You're already weakened, already doubting yourself, already isolated. One last push and you collapse, and they don't even have to lift a finger in your presence to make it happen. If you knew how many people were living under this kind of slow spiritual attack right now without realizing it, you'd understand why awareness is your first line of defense. You can't just protect against the dramatic. You have to guard against the quiet, the subtle, the patient. Because that's where the real danger hides. They're not looking to scare you. They're looking to own you without you ever knowing when it started. They don't just send things into your life, they can take things out of it. That's the part most people don't understand about spiritual warfare through water. It's not only a delivery system, it's a siphon. The same way you can pour energy into water, you can pull energy out through it. And witches who know their craft, well, don't waste that opportunity. They use your toilet as a two-way gate. You think you're just flushing waste away, but in their world, you're flushing away fragments of your own energy, your own luck, your own pieces of you that they can collect, store, and use. Here's how it works. Every time you interact with water, especially in a space where you're physically and spiritually open, a part of your energy signature is released. This is why in many old cultures people would never let their bathwater be thrown out just anywhere. They knew it could be used to control or harm them. Now take that same principle and apply it to a cursed toilet. If that water has been prepared with the intention to extract, then every time you use it, you're feeding it. You're giving it what it's designed to take, and the witch on the other end knows how to catch it. They can pull vitality from you so subtly you don't realize it's gone until you feel the effects. You start to feel drained in ways rest can't fix. You lose your drive, your ambition. That natural fire you've always had just isn't there anymore. And because it's not like someone took it all at once, you don't panic. You just slowly adjust to operating on less. That's exactly what they want, because the more of your energy they take, the less capable you are of defending yourself or moving forward in life. And it's not just physical energy they target. They can pull from your emotional and spiritual reserves too. You start losing confidence, you second-guess every choice, you stop feeling inspired. Even your relationships can feel the strain because you're not bringing the same light, the same patience, the same warmth you used to. You don't see it as theft, you see it as burnout or just getting older or being in a rough season. That's how they keep you from fighting back. By convincing you it's just life, the worst part, they can use what they take from you. Your energy isn't just gone, it's now in their hands. They can store it, manipulate it, even turn it against you. In some cases, they'll use your own energy to strengthen future attacks, making them hit harder because they're carrying a piece of you. It's like someone stealing your own weapon and using it to wound you, and because it's your energy, it resonates more deeply. It bypasses defenses that might have stopped something foreign. You might start noticing that certain areas of your life seem to collapse faster than others. Maybe your career opportunities vanish out of nowhere. Maybe the joy in your home disappears. Maybe you keep getting sick, even though nothing has changed in your habits. These aren't random. They're the exact areas they've been pulling from. And once they see what they can drain most easily, They focus there, taking more and more until it feels like that part of your life can't recover. Some witches don't even need to attack you directly once they've established that siphon. They can keep you weak just by maintaining the connection. Every time you use that cursed toilet, you refresh it. Every flush is a little more of you leaving. And because it's such an ordinary act, you never suspect it. You don't even think twice about it. Meanwhile, they're drawing from you like a well they know will never run dry as long as you stay unaware. And here's where it gets even darker. They can time their extractions. If they know you have something important coming up, a big meeting, an opportunity, a major life event, they can intensify the pull in the days leading up to it. That's why some people feel suddenly sick, exhausted, or emotionally unstable right before critical moments. It's not bad luck, it's intentional. They're making sure you show up to those moments at your weakest, ensuring you fail or miss the chance entirely. They also understand the ripple effect. When your energy drops, your vibration drops, and when your vibration drops, you attract more negativity without them even having to send it. You start drawing in situations, people, and circumstances that match that low frequency. At that point, they don't have to do much. The energy you're living in keeps feeding the cycle for them. The terrifying thing about this kind of attack is how invisible it is. You won't find broken glass on your doorstep or strange markings on your wall. There's no obvious clue that someone's taking from you. It's quiet, it's constant, and it's effective. And if you never learn to see it, you'll spend years wondering why life always feels like it's slipping through your fingers. Once that siphon is in place, they can keep taking until you either cut it off or there's nothing left to take. And make no mistake, they'll keep going as long as you let them, because in their eyes, an unguarded toilet isn't just plumbing. It's a perfect, silent funnel into your very life force. And the most dangerous part is when they twist the toilet into a silent altar of curses. You think it's just porcelain and water, but to them, it's a gateway, an opening that carries energy out of your home, a perfect channel to send darkness back in. They use it like a reverse funnel. Imagine someone standing in your bathroom when you're not there, whispering words over the water, sprinkling powders, dropping oils or strange herbs that dissolve and vanish without a trace. You flush, thinking you're cleaning away waste, but in reality, you're activating what they've planted. The attack doesn't need to be loud. It doesn't need to make a mess. It just needs to reach your space without you knowing. That's why these are the hardest to detect. You may suddenly feel drained, unusually irritable, fighting with people you love over nothing, and you'll blame stress or bad luck. But the truth is, something has been rooted in your home's most private place, using the same system that's supposed to carry things out to instead pull something dark in. This is how they work. Quiet, patient, invisible, counting on you not to notice until it's too late. And if you think it's superstition, that's exactly how they win, because you won't guard the very space they know you'll overlook. So understand this, your home is more than walls and furniture. It is an extension of your spirit, your sanctuary, your defense. And like anything worth protecting, it demands vigilance. You cannot afford to live blindly, assuming that because you can't see the attack, it doesn't exist. The greatest threats are always the ones that slip in unnoticed, cloaked in the ordinary, hiding in the places you think are safe. If you do nothing else, remember this: guard your space, guard your energy, and guard your peace as if your life depends on it, because sometimes it truly does.